Okay, hey guys, I am your girl Dom Fowler, of course. I am a mother, I'm an educator, I'm the owner and creator of August Jones Essentials, where we offer wellness shots and detoxes. And I'm the host of this here podcast, For the Record Podcast, where we have the deep, therapeutic, uncomfortable, vulnerable, heavy, authentic, and necessary conversations. And I am very excited
Have
about
you had
this.
any therapy?
Exactly. I have had some therapy. I have actually. I graduated from therapy, but I might need to go back. But yeah, I'm excited about this conversation today. This is episode 42, and I'm excited about my guest. I'm excited about this conversation. Yeah, I think it's a very important one. I'm actually more excited about this conversation than most that I've had been having recently. So I'm going to introduce my guest. She's a very important person. I'm going to let her talk to you about who she is and what she does. But I do want to let you know that today we're talking about wife material. What is wife material? What it looks like?
Oh God.
And yeah, so without further ado, hey Daisy,
Hey, girl.
I'm so happy to finally have you here.
I'm happy to be here. I'm
Yeah.
excited.
Yeah, I'm excited too. So tell the people who you are.
I am Daisy Grant. I
Yeah.
am a singer songwriter, a private chef, a caterer. I'm a philanthropist, and most importantly, I'm a mom.
Yes. Wow, beautiful. So, yes, the reason why you're here, well, you would be here one way or another, but I'm happy to have you here because I came to your event. I actually was honored and fortunate enough to speak at your event just recently called Wife Material. And it was like, would you call it like a woman's empowerment?
Yes, it's a woman's empowerment event. I don't believe in sisterhood, but I do believe in community.
Why don't you believe in sisterhood?
Like this
Because
right here.
most times when people say something is a sisterhood, we don't see anything sisterly happening.
Ooh.
So whether it be organizations that you have to pledge into, or, it's religious groups that you're a part of, we usually see the environment say one thing, but the behaviors being another.
Wow.
And so I don't like to subscribe to the sisterhood term.
Yeah.
I much rather community. And I really didn't have the event, and I didn't create this event to create sisterhood. I created this event to help in assisting us build community so that we can actually be good spouses and good partners.
Yeah.
So that we have family more than we have to worry about, like friendships or things like that. Like your biggest, to me, for as a woman, one of your biggest accolades should be your family.
Yeah.
Just like as a man, like
Yeah.
one of his biggest accolades should be his family.
Yes, for sure.
And so I think for us, there's a lack of that in our community, you
Yeah.
know? And so that's what the Wife Material space is about, is to empower you as a woman so that you can be in tune with whatever is necessary for you to be the best version of yourself for family.
Yes, I love that.
know.
I was like, when you asked me to be a part of the panel, I'm like, sure, but I felt a little bit like I'm not a wife. Like, like I'm like, I'm not a wife, but I'll do it, but I'm not a wife, And when I got there and I realized that that's what it's all about, is preparing yourself to be a wife. And I love that. I'm like, that's a beautiful initiative, because I tell my girlfriends this all the time. I tell everyone, all women, right? It's like, it's okay to be single. We want to be married, right? Like, not we all, but a lot of us want to be married. But it's okay to like be single and preparing yourself for your husband and not looking, more or less, like, I mean, I guess your husband will come find you and what have you and all those things, but it's like, don't just be single.
Stop the cap.
I feel like I see so many women. He's so annoying. I see so many women just being single, but like constantly like chasing something, right?
Right.
Constantly like looking for something, chasing something, going in a cycle of like what they don't want, over and over again. And I think that it's okay to just like take a pause on it, and don't shut yourself out. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying just take a pause and work on yourself,
Right.
And I've been saying that for years, so I love this initiative.
So I think what happens is that we all do want family.
Yeah, yeah.
We all want that. That's just a natural thing.
Yeah.
Society has told us otherwise, and unfortunately, a lot of Black people have been the guinea pigs of a lot of those agendas and a lot of that propaganda of not needing a husband or not needing certain things to have family. They've taken that from us, And we've bought into it. You know, we've bought into it. And then we end up in those repeated cycles of dealing with the same kind of people that's not going to get us what we really want.
Yep.
And we then manipulate ourselves into believing I don't need anybody because I have a degree or I have a job or I have my own place or my own car. I don't need anyone.
Yeah.
But you're still putting yourself in a position that is, you still want connection, you still want companionship, you still want it.
Yeah.
And then you're not choosing from the best areas to get it.
Yeah.
So for me, wife material that's a state of being.
Yeah.
It's not a title. It's a state of being. You need to be that before you get a ring. You need to be that before you get a marriage contract or before you get a ceremony. Like, you should be a wife already.
Yeah.
And a part of, again, the propaganda and the agendas specifically that's marketed to Black women is we're hypersexualized, and we're also told to be hot girls.
Yeah.
Right? We're told to be promiscuous. We're told that you should go and have your whole season. And those people that are promoting it, one, are not in whole seasons.
Right, not doing
These
the
are
same thing.
married women that are screaming independence. This is all agenda. And it sells. It keeps you in a place where you're going to constantly be a consumer. If you have family, you have a man that's likely going to tell you, this is more suitable for family image, the image of a mother, the image of a wife. Then it's going to start to take away from what the people that want you to buy their whatever it is that they're selling, it's going to take from that.
Yeah.
Because what they sell needs you to be divided.
Yes, yes.
So for me, even when we had the hot girl summer, city girl things, it's cute to say until you're 45 and still a city girl.
Yeah.
You're 45 and still trying to have a hot girl summer.
Yeah.
You're washed up at this point.
Yeah, it's so interesting because listening to you talk, I'm like, it's crazy because I definitely grew up, and I'm sure we're in the same generation. So I definitely grew up in a place where it was like, I was being prepared to more be a husband than a wife, you know, like, or I was being told that I should be preparing for things that are more husband duties than they are wife duties, you know, and it was like, you should go to school, you should have a great career, you should make a lot of money, you should be able to stand on your own, you should be like all these things. And it was like, remember that it was like a quote back in the day that would be all over MySpace, like that's long ago, that was like, we need to teach our girls to be somebodies, not somebodies, like, you know, meaning like we need to teach them to be make their mark on the world and not be somebody's wife, you know. And it's like, no, you know what I mean?
Your mark on the world is being a wife.
A great wife, you know, that uplifts your husband and allows him to lead and allows him to do all the things that we've been working on so hard ourselves, you know. So with that being said, I want to talk about what you believe wife material is. And I know that's like a loaded question, so we'll get into it and we'll talk about it and talk through it. But like, what are some things, like, what do you think wife material is? What should we be doing to become wife material?
So just to piggyback off of what I was just saying in regards to the city girl term, right? I think right now we're seeing where femininity is an on and off switch for some women. Where for me, being a wife requires you to be feminine at all times. It's not an on and off. It's always on.
Yeah.
So if you are not capable of being in your feminine at all times, I would reconsider your status as a wife. I would say that you might not be wife material yet, because men naturally, heterosexual men, don't want to be in a relationship with another man. They're choosing a woman because they want the thing that they don't have.
Yeah.
So if you want to be wife material, you have to be the thing that attracts a man.
Yeah.
And what attracts him is going to be your femininity. What's attracting him is going to be your nurturing, your inspiration, your mothering, your healing. Those are the things that make you a feminine woman. See, we've been, again, the agenda has been get an education that makes you a good woman.
Yes.
Get money that makes you a good woman.
Yes.
Be the boss that makes you a good woman. And that makes you everything other than what a man wants. They're like you said, they're teaching you to be a man, the husband, and they're teaching you to be the woman. And we end up, again, changing the definitions of words. Women are hating the term submission. when submission is a willful act.
Yeah.
But they're making submission slavery and oppression. And those are two different things.
Yeah.
So if you know that submission is willful, then that means you have power and control over it.
Yeah.
That's where your femininity and your feminine power lies, is that you have the power to be submissive.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of women, because we've been taught, you know, just like we're in the era where they say cis women, cis men.
Yeah.
We're redefining words that have already been defined because we're manipulating certain agendas to accommodate certain people.
Yeah.
Instead of saying, no, a woman is a woman and a man is a man.
Yeah.
And that's just what it is. Now, people may have their own terms and whatever, but we're seeing more of that in every aspect of life.
Yeah.
So now we're seeing women redefine femininity or redefine what a woman should be or shouldn't be, when those things have already been designed and defined for us.
I have so much to say about everything you just said that I want to try to sort it out and pace myself, because it's so, like, it's heavy. Like, you know, it gets really deep because, first of all, the submitting thing. Ooh, yes, because your power lying in your submission is like, that was such a powerful thing that you said, because I'm learning now, trying to learn now how to be submissive, you know, and it's actually like difficult because I'm doing so much unlearning, you know. I wasn't raised or taught to be submissive, you know. I was literally raised and taught to be the opposite, you know. So it's like such a difficult thing. And it's funny, I was talking to my girlfriends recently, 2 girlfriends, like 40 years old, right? And we're talking about, I'm telling them a story about something. They're like, well, it sounds like this man is very controlling. And I said, well, how do you lead somebody if you can't control them? And they were like, oh, like they could not, like they understood what I was saying. They thought it was so logical, but they could not wrap their heads around the fact that now they're having this epiphany that, oh, to be led, I have to be controlled. Like, and it's like such a hard thing for women to understand, because we just were not being, you know, and this is
manipulation.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's manipulation.
It's crazy. And it's like, you do need to choose a man who you think can control, like lead you in the right way, you know, to put that, like to be able to control you, I think. And I think that sometimes maybe that's, like, people have a hard time finding the balance in everything, I feel like. And I think that is very confusing for them, because they're like, I don't want a controlling man, but I do want a man that leads me. And it's like,
again, the manipulation of words, the redefining, a lot of terms are being used and people are not properly using the terms. Yeah. And again, if you say that you want someone to lead you, a synonym for that can be control, right?
Literally, yep.
And the same goes, and not all control is oppression. Right. Right? Some control is simply direction. Right. The GPS is controlling your direction. Right. But it's not abusing you. Yeah. Should you go some other way. Right. It's going to redirect you. Right. Because that's what it's supposed to do. Yep. And that's what men are. Men are the GPS in the family. Yeah. They direct where the family is going to go. It doesn't mean that you are not valuable simply because you're not in the pilot seat. Yeah. You know? Yeah. And I think for some women, because ego is really big for us, like women are very egotistical. We tend to allow our heads to get so big, and society has allowed it too. Yeah. Where we are now comfortable being the captain. We're not comfortable being someone that's sitting behind the captain or a co-captain. Yeah. We want to be the captain. Yeah. With stipulations that not all captain duties I have to have. Yeah. Like, you want to be the man, but you don't want to build anything. Right. You don't want to fix anything. Right. You don't want to actually do the hard labor things that men will do in order for you to have what men produce. Right, correct. It's very manipulative, right? And it's propaganda, it's agenda that unfortunately for many of us, we've bought into. Now, the thing about college, right? We see these other groups of women, they go to college, they get their degrees, but they also, by senior year, they're looking to be fiancés and wives, right? They go to school to get a husband.
Yeah.
We go to school to not need a husband.
We do.
That's the unfortunate thing about Black women, right?
Yeah.
Is that we're going to school and we're going so that we can one day say, I don't need a man.
Yeah.
Where other groups of women are going to school and they're finding their man.
Yup. Getting that
They
ring.
completely understand
Yup.
the assignment.
Yup.
They understand it.
Yeah.
And so for me, like, wife material is being in your feminine essence, femininity and soft era. I hate this whole soft era thing. Like, why is these things in eras?
Yeah.
Why is it hot girl in era?
Right.
Why is city girl in era? Why is softness in era? If you are a feminine woman, you should have that all the time.
Yeah, it's crazy because it's literally kind of saying that you're not grounded in who you are, but you're just following a trend.
Yeah.
You know, it's literally, that's what it's saying.
Trending.
That's crazy.
And the trends are to compete with other women. The trends are not for men.
Yeah.
So this soft girl era that we're seeing on social media, it's the fancy dining, the best spas, it's the best flights and trips, it's the best clothes and shoes. And that's not stuff for men.
Yeah.
These women are doing this
Yeah.
to compete with other women.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So really, what's soft about that?
yeah, that's
It's
so
not
crazy.
even soft. It's
Yeah.
not even, you're not even genuinely doing it for your own personal healing or personal self-care.
Yeah.
You're doing it so that you can post it and up one someone else.
Yeah, that's correct. That's correct. Flex on them.
Flexing super hard.
Yeah, that's
Man.
correct. Yeah.
It's crazy out here.
Yeah, it is crazy. And speaking, I think it like has bled into our men too. Like
Yeah.
the same like propaganda and like, you know, brainwashing that we had going on, our men have too.
Yeah.
Because so many of our men are like, I want a woman that got her own. She got her stuff together. She got this, she got that.
They've been raised by those women.
Exactly. And they don't know that they actually don't want that.
No.
And I learned this the hard way. Like I've talked about this on this podcast here before, but I learned this the hard way. And I think like the person who I was in a relationship at the time also learned it the hard way. But like we went into a relationship, a 5-year relationship. We went into it and it was 50-50. Like we were 50-50 everything, 50-50 making decisions, 50-50 paying bills, 50-50 raising our child, like 50-50 everything. And it got to a point where it was like, okay, we need to grow together. And who is actually going to make the decisions to do that, you know? And it was like, I'll do it or you can do it. It doesn't matter which one does it, but he wasn't doing it. So I was like, okay, I'll do it. But then we both were it wasn't working. And I realized it took me that relationship to really understand and get real about the fact that no man's going to want you to be leading them. Even if they don't know it subconsciously, like innately, they do not want a woman leading them.
Our leadership with men is inspiration. That's how we lead.
I like
that's
that.
That's how we can kind of get what we want.
Yeah.
Is when we learn how to inspire.
Ooh.
And a lot of women don't know how to inspire a man. They don't know how to inspire a man's love.
What does it look like?
So I think what it looks like is, first it's knowing how to talk to a man and not talk at a man.
Ooh, this is key.
It's knowing how to listen
Yeah.
and not feel attacked.
Ooh.
Because a lot of the times when a man is actually constructively correcting us,
Yeah.
we feel like we're under attack. So I think if you know how to receive whatever he's saying constructively and you can make the adjustments, if you know how to talk to him and not talk at him, if you know how to listen when words are not being spoken, like you've learned him enough, you have an invested interest enough that you are listening innately to everything that he says and everything that he does to know him. I think that's what will inspire a man that gets up every day for you.
Yeah.
A man that's inspired to get up and work hard for his family.
Yeah.
And now the dreams that you have are also his dreams.
Yeah.
And I think when we start to get into that, I think we'll start to see improvement in how we interpret our parts in the relationship. Because I think a lot of women think that they are control-less in the relationship. So this is why they want to be, I need it to be my way, or I want to give 50-50, or I got to have my name on this, because you think you don't have any power. You just don't know how to use your power.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's why femininity is important. That's why submission is important. A man that has a woman that's submitting is going to go to the moon and the stars for her. You want to find a successful husband, you find a successful husband by finding one that's happy with his wife. And then you find that wife and befriend her and find out what is it that she's done. Like, people think you go and have girlfriends that are married and that just makes them marriage material.
Yeah.
Not all wives are good wives.
Yeah, yeah.
Not all men are happily married. There are a lot of people that are married and miserable.
Yeah.
So you want to find the woman that has the happy husband, because that's the woman that knows how to inspire.
And it's so crazy because it's so few and far between.
Very, very few and far in between.
Oh my goodness.
But when you find them,
yeah,
those are the people that you go and you get your information from.
yeah,
Like, you go and you pull from them. And most of the women that are in those spaces, they're not going to say it's a walk in the park. It's not a walk in the park to be with anybody.
no,
But it's the willingness each day to choose each other.
Yeah.
It's the sacrifices. It's recognizing that he's not 100%. Neither am I, but I love the 80 that I get.
Yeah.
I'm grateful for the 80 because there's some women that are not even getting a fourth of what I'm getting.
Right.
And it's always being in that mindset, like, yeah, today I don't like you, but I could not see myself doing another day without you.
Right.
Like, those type of things. So I think we just have to learn how to inspire. And inspiration for men are different. It's subjective.
Yeah.
But I think universally they have some core things. Like, they want respect.
Yeah.
You know, men... love for men is respect, honor, loyalty,
Yep.
being trustworthy. A lot of women are not the type of women that a man can come and be vulnerable to, because the first moment that you get his vulnerability, maybe you think he's weak, or maybe you take that and you throw it back at him.
Yeah.
So now he'll never open up to you again.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's just it's a number of things that, you know, can inspire a man.
No, 1,000%. I think what you're like, one of the key things I'm hearing, and like what's really resonating with me as I'm listening to you talk, is how you speak to a man.
Yeah.
It's like I'm so working on that and have been working on that for so long. And I've seen it happen. Like, I've seen, like, because it's crazy, because like a woman, you can get what you want from a man just by speaking, talking to him nicely.
Yeah.
You know, like, you just have to know how to speak to a man. That's all you need to do, you know?
And when you have conflict, right, when there's a problem, and I've had this fault too. I would attack the conversation with the problem. Like, I would start it with the problem.
Yeah.
Where sometimes you need to attack the conversation with a compliment.
Yeah.
You need to say something good to this guy.
Yeah.
You know, babe, I really love when you do this.
Yeah.
I love it when you do this, but I did want to mention that XYZ happened, and I don't really like that. So you know, then that makes it a little easier for him to hear you.
Yeah.
And he not be on the defense.
Yeah.
And he not be like, whatever, everything I do is not enough.
Yeah.
You know, now his guard is down because you started and you led with, I appreciate that you do these things for me, and I don't ever want you to think that I'm ungrateful.
Yeah.
That can set the tone for you to have any kind of serious conversation.
Yeah.
But if we go in like, I need to talk to you, he's already on guard.
Right. Right.
We need to talk. That's like that's the worst statement that a woman can say to a man, because it puts him on guard.
Yeah.
You want to go into the conversation with his guard down so that you can have the conversation.
Right. Right.
And so that's what we have to like. We have to learn how to talk to a man, the tone of voice. I'm gonna be animated. I'm gonna be louder. I'm gonna be a little more boisterous. And I'm not going to speak as seductively. I'm not going to speak as soft and as sensually with a man that's not my man. So when people are like, oh, you're around your man, you talk different. Of course I talk different around my man.
I know that's right.
Of course.
Yeah.
I'm going to speak to him in a completely different tone. Of course.
Yeah.
Because this is someone that I need him to see me surrender to something, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And even though it feels like surrender, it's also your power.
Yeah.
Right? You know, like you talking like, hey, baby.
Yeah.
You know, it's to other people like, oh, he got her whipped. No, baby, I got
him. Yes, you're actually controlling him.
Absolutely.
And all you got to do is just talk to him nicely. I've seen this happen, like, because I've been like, it's
the moon and the stars is not high enough for him to climb. He's gonna go beyond that for you.
Yes. Yes.
It's the respect. It's like that admiration that your tone of voice can make him feel.
Right. No, exactly. What you are so, look, she is like in love with this conversation. But yes, no, beautiful. No, I really love that, because I'm working on it. First of all, like, I literally been having, like, I wasn't taught this, right? I didn't see this, right? And so now, and I got older eventually, and people, like I've had people say to me, even women, like, you don't know how to talk to a man. And I was like, oh wow, like and I was even in the mindset for a long time, like, what do you mean? Like, why do I have to talk to a man differently than I would talk to anybody else, you know? And now I'm really starting to, like, not even now, like for a while now, I've been like really understanding. It's just like, if you want a man to be doing all the things, right, that a man is going to do, is provide and protect and like take, you know, carry the weight of y'all on his shoulders, you know, the least you can do is like speak to him nicely, be kind to him, be soft for him, be soft in general. The femininity all the time is like, when you said that, I'm like, whew, I gotta really work on that, because I don't know, I just never,
well, you've had to do masculine things for so long
yeah,
that it feels hard. But
yeah,
when you're in a space and you're fortunate to have a man,
yeah,
that should be the easiest place.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
You gotta let it go.
Yeah.
Anything that's holding you to doing those things is ego.
Right. Right.
It's just ego.
It is. Like,
we get comfortable with controlling things.
For sure.
So.
Absolutely. I agree with that. Ryan, what do you think? I want to hear your take. Of course, because we're two women speaking about wife material, I want to hear your take on it.
I agree with everything that Daisy said. No, but I do think it's very underrated. For women don't understand, like, if you speak a certain way, you probably couldn't get anything.
Yeah.
And actually, like, the super feminine, that's the archetype in, like, in mythology and all that. The siren that can, like, command all kinds of men to do all kinds of stuff. Mm-hmm. And they don't do it by arguing.
Yeah.
Right. They maneuver in a feminine way, but they are wielding their power in a different way. And I think all of that has been lost, and it's been made to be a bad thing. I think that's the biggest problem, right? Like even the whole stupid argument about, you know, getting the man a plate or whatever. Like, you're made to feel guilty to do something nice to a guy, and I feel like even a compliment or anything like that, like, they feel gross to give you a compliment. Like, what the heck is that?
Yeah. And it often is other women making them feel that way.
Yeah.
That's so crazy.
Other women that have never had a real man.
Yeah.
Other women that have never experienced a man in their life.
Yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned the plate, because I actually wrote a book called A Single Woman's Guide on How to Keep Your Husband.
Yeah.
And I have a chapter that is no plastic.
Yep. Do not give you. Yep. Mm-hmm.
No plastic.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
No paper plates.
And explain why that's important.
It's important because it's service. So the biggest component of a relationship is your service to each other.
Yes.
We both have to submit to each other. We're gonna submit in different ways.
Yeah.
But we have to submit to each other. And for me, I grew up, my grandparents raised me. Mm-hmm. I never had paper plates and utensils in my house. Mm-hmm. They were only used for like cookouts or things like that. I saw my grandmother make meals, and my grandfather ate on porcelain or china or glassware, and he drank from a glass cup or a mug. I never seen her give her man a paper plate. But also, what I never saw happen, I never saw my grandmother pay a mortgage bill. He paid off the home that they were living in. Not one time did she have to contribute to the mortgage. So this is service.
Yeah.
Two different types of service, but they were both serving each other.
Yeah.
And some days, of course, he can go and make his own plate.
Yeah.
But he's not using a paper plate to eat with. And it's a certain level of appreciation that comes with that. A lot of women say, oh, he's my king. But what king eats with paper and plastic?
Right.
We don't know any royalty to not be treated like royalty.
Right.
We don't know a man to not sit at the head of the table in his castle.
Yeah.
That's not royalty.
Yeah.
Now, can we see royalty differently from different customs? Yes. Some customs, utensils are not used at all.
Yeah.
But there are still traditions that honor the man, where that man is getting his plate first. Some women will say, oh, no, my kids eat first. Your kids are not going to starve because you place your husband's plate down before theirs.
Right, correct.
They're not going to starve.
Correct.
Okay? And the kids also need to know the order and the hierarchy in the house.
I was going to say, some people are still confused about the hierarchy in a home.
And that's why this is why we see sometimes in relationships that the marriages end up going to pits when the kids come into play because moms are putting their children before their husbands. And although these are your children, they don't come before your man.
They do not.
And they don't come before you.
Yeah.
Like, they don't come before you.
They don't. And people really have to understand that, because, like, what you just said is very, relevant. We see that all the time, where people have a kid and then it's over. Like, they can't. And it is a lot that goes on when a kid comes into this world.
It is.
Like, it changes things drastically, But I think you really, and I had to, like, learn, this is something I had to learn in my adulthood, like, is that it's God and then your husband, right? And then and then yourself, like you said, y'all as a unit, and then your children.
Right.
And people, it was hard for me to wrap my head around that. I'm like, because I was raised by a single parent, like a single dad and a single mom, were, raised us separately is what I'm trying to say. And they put their kids first. They didn't have spouses. They put their kids first.
And that could be why they didn't have spouses.
Right. Correct.
The kids became their life.
Yup. Exactly.
You become obsessed with the kids. But and when you look in the wild and you look at how other species actually depart from their children, right? After a certain time, the kids have to leave. It's just what it is. Mom and dad will still be there. But the kids have to then grow. Like, we've done what we were supposed to do. They're going to leave. Just in our life, our kids are going to grow. They're going to hit 18. They're going to hit 21.
Yeah.
They are going to leave.
Yeah.
And you're going to be left behind. And you need to have your companion when those kids leave.
You do.
And a lot of women, for us, so many women are like, I'm focused on my children, putting my children through school. And now you're 50 years old and you're needing companionship because you're lonely, and your kids don't feel bad that you're alone.
And you a lot of times we see now you're starting to infiltrate
and guilt your kids.
Yup, exactly. And now you're messing up their marriage and what they got going on because you need them to be your companion still.
Yep.
And that's not how that's supposed to go.
A lot of women raise their sons to be their husbands.
1,000%.
A lot of women do it. And this is also why we see today there's a different kind of man today, because a lot of men, a woman can't raise a man. A woman cannot make a man a man. Only a man can do that.
Yeah.
And this is why we're seeing so many feminine tendencies and a lot of men now where men are saying, I want 50-50.
Yeah.
Men are saying, I need you to contribute to the household. Men are saying, I don't want to work 10-hour days.
Yeah.
Men are not wanting to do the things that men are actually created to do because they were designed by their moms to be more feminine.
Yeah.
And to be more like a woman.
Yeah.
And so for me, a part of why I think gender roles are important, and they're very specific.
Yeah.
Not just from my religious beliefs, because my religious beliefs makes it very clear that we're different.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think the reason why it's so important for me to kind of like say, yes, these things, homemaker is for a woman. Nurturing is for a woman. Caretaker is for a woman. Healing is for a woman. Those are the things that we are divine in.
Yeah.
Those are the things that we are magnificent in. Our bodies feed children. It's just some things that you just can't get away. You can't get around.
Right.
Like, so stop trying to take that magic from yourself and trying to force yourself into something else that will never be magical for you.
Yeah.
It'll never be that.
Yeah, it's actually, you led me into my next question, and it's you kind of answered it, but just I want us to talk about it in a more tangible way, like some more tangible examples. I was going to ask you, what role should a wife be playing? Because the reason I ask this is because we have this conversation often, and it's like we know me and Ryan have talked about this before, and he put it really beautifully. It's like what a man does is just more quantifiable than what a woman's doing, right? Like, it's just easier to say, I pay the bills, I protect you. It's easier to say that, right? For a woman, sometimes it's like less quantifiable. You know what I mean? The role that we play. So what are some of the things? And I really love, I want to take it back to your event. I really love that at your event, the games where how quickly can you fold a fitted sheet? Because that is like, I can't fold no fitted sheet. I was like, I'm not even getting up there. I'm still working on that. And like, what do you have in your purse, right? Like, what are the things you have in your purse? Because like, I learned this. with my now partner, like anytime we go somewhere, regardless of what's going on, I need to have hand sanitizer for him. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's going to ask me for hand sanitizer. Doesn't matter how big or small my bag is. I need to have hand sanitizer in it. You know, he's going to ask me for it. I need to have it. Anytime I don't have it, I feel like I got to get up and find this man some hand sanitizer. You know what I mean? Like, I got to help this man out because it's just something I know I need to have for him at all times. You know what I mean? So what are the quantifiable ways that you could describe the roles a woman should play in a relationship?
Of course, it's going to be subjective because each man needs something different. Each man is looking for something different. I think universally, most men are looking for a helper in whatever capacity they need her to help. So whether that be you're his bookkeeper, his secretary, his personal assistant, a man would rather you work for him than to work under anyone else. He would rather you be his support system, his dream, like you are helping his dream come true than for you to give your energy, your time, your resources to someone else. So I think that that's number one. I think also other tangible things is, again, having a uniqueness to yourself. I don't think a lot of women are unique anymore. I don't think we're unique. So when you ask a woman, what do you offer a man, or what do you bring to this said table? Most women say, I am the table. That's because they don't know what they offer. They don't have anything to offer. They haven't actually established that within themselves. So character is one of those things that is inquantifiable. It's something that's priceless, but it's something that is most valuable. Your character, your morals, your integrity, your principles, those are things that are actually going to be more useful in a relationship than not. Not the amount of shoes that you come with, the amount of bags you can buy, or how stylish you can be. He's going to need your moral compass. He's going to need to see where your integrity lies.
I like this, right?
Are you loyal? Are you trustworthy? Are you truthful? Are you going to honor me in my absence and in my presence? I've been in some rooms where I've been around women that have completely humiliated their man. And the first thing I thought was, he is a low self-esteem kind of guy. Like, whatever this guy is, for you to even deal with a woman that can humiliate you or can emasculate you, it's more about you now than it is about her. And so I'm more about the quality of who you are. That to me is the essence that you bring as a woman. Of course, every man needs something different, but it's that. And a lot of women don't have essence because they've been doing other things. Like we're focused on our materials, we're focused on our our financial aesthetics. And you know what's crazy too? All of these women are on podcasts and they're talking about this $100,000, $1 million man. When we look at statistics, these $100,000, $1 million men are a minority. And the women that say that they're getting all of this money are not telling the truth. The IRS is saying something different. The IRS is saying $42,000 to $45,000 is the median for African American women. The median for African American men, I think, is like $52,000 a year as of like 2023. So when we talk these numbers, right, this is literally a figment of many imaginations. This is not real. So now you're creating what they're saying standards. It's actually a preference, and you're making this unrealistic preference something intangible, which is why the tangibles don't seem valuable. They don't seem valuable because you have this fake notion of what reality is. You're living in a bubble. You don't make $100,000, and you really don't need it either. You've been surviving all your life. Neither of your parents made it. You've never made it. And even if you've made it, right? That does not actually equate to success. In a relationship
at all.
It doesn't equate to success in a relationship.
No, that's absolutely true. And that goes actually back to trendiness, right? Like you were saying earlier about women not having an essence anymore, and they're not even working on it. And I'm like, they're just trying to be what they see on social media.
Competition with other women.
We're
doing everything for women and nothing for the men.
Yeah.
Like nothing. These dudes don't care about half the stuff that we actually care about.
Yeah.
And we only care about it because we're competing with people that we think are competition.
Right.
You see all of the pretty bodies. We see all of the makeup. We see all of the long extensions. We see the hair and the nails. We see all of these things. And none of those things come with husbands.
At all. And usually they come without a husband.
None of them come with a husband.
Like-
But we see the bags, we see the lifestyle, we see shoulders and pictures and
Yeah.
kneecaps.
Yeah.
We'll see a kneecap, so because they can't give you full-fledged faces, right?
Uh-uh.
You get shoulders,
Yeah.
you get hands on the steering wheel, you
Right.
get kneecaps,
Right.
you get shoe pictures. They'll never identify the man because he's not yours to identify.
Right. Ooh. Ooh.
And the reality is that you're in competition with other women. You're not actually trying to be in the moment with him.
Right.
Because if you were, you wouldn't be taking those pictures.
Right.
Like, I go out and I treat myself often. And every time I go to dinner today, every couple is on their phone. How do you think in any world that you're going to get to know a person if every single moment you spend with them, you're spending it with someone else?
Yeah. And like, how do you even know that you should be with them?
You don't. And this is why you see so many disasters
Yeah.
when it comes to relationships today.
Right.
Because people are not actually getting to know people.
Right.
You're having sex. You're doing social activities. You're posting the social activities because you're competing.
Right.
And you want to act and pretend like you're living a certain lifestyle that you may or may not be living. And you're not actually taking the time to invest in seeing whether or not this person is your person.
Right. Right.
And
No.
then you're doing it over and over and over again.
Yeah.
It doesn't take long for you to identify. Anybody that knows themselves should not have a long time identifying who's their people.
Yeah, and that's another, like when we were, just a moment ago, when we were talking about people not just trying to be competing, right? They're not working on themselves, their character, all those things you were talking about, their loyalty, their respect, their morals. They're not working on that at all. They're not even working on their bodies. They're going to get their bodies.
Surface.
Yeah, they're working on the physical. They're not working on the inside.
And you're right. They're not working on their bodies. They're going and having surgery, and they
Yeah.
still have 15 pounds of visceral fat around their organs.
Yeah.
And you still are most likely, you can walk down the street and still have a heart attack
Right.
because you're not going to the gym. And I'm not here to criticize anybody that chooses that route, but the reality is that we've made these fixer-uppers standards.
Yeah.
You're not actually healing anything.
Yeah.
You're not improving anything.
Yeah.
And all you're doing is changing an aesthetic.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, what's happened with this new wave of superficial stuff, this new wave that's happening with the superficial thing, the unfortunate thing about it is that I don't really see a decline. I don't see a decline in it. What I do see is that I do think that some women are starting to wake up because they're going and do these things and they're still not happy or they're still not successful.
Yeah.
You got your body done, but it hasn't solidified a relationship.
Yup.
You got your hair and your nails to a certain way, or you're going to these restaurants where you know all of the celebrities go, and you go into these places where you know all of the it people are, but it still hasn't changed your life.
Right. And now you're being forced to get to the point where you actually have to go within.
Yep.
And
Yep.
that is like what will get you to being wife material, right? Like
Yeah,
you're not going to become wife material just by being beautiful.
No.
There's so much more that goes into it.
Absolutely. I had a discussion today, and Umar Johnson actually said this on a podcast, and he said, unattractive women can take attractive women's men. And I spoke on that because I'm like, that's powerful. Men are choosing the woman that is going to be a help to his life.
Yes.
That's going to support him the way he needs to be supported. And as superficial as we think men are, they aren't.
Yeah.
And we're seeing more attractive, highly attractive men that are with the non-American Western society aesthetic of beautiful women.
Yes. Yes.
We're seeing the physically fit men choose the woman that you may think is too overweight.
Yeah.
Or we're seeing the very attractive men choose the woman that doesn't have the bone straight hair.
Yeah.
She doesn't have the model-esque body. She doesn't have these exotic features. He's choosing her, and he's choosing her because she's giving him what a man needs from a woman, and that's femininity.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's nurturing, that's healing.
Yeah.
That's a soft voice.
Yeah.
She's giving him intimacy. And not just physically, but she's intimate with him spiritually.
Yes.
She's intimate with him mentally, emotionally. She's a safe haven. She's a safe space for this guy. And while you are beautiful exterior, you have a beautiful exterior, internally you're not attractive.
Right. Right.
You're not attractive.
And men, a good man, the man that you want is not. They don't want that.
Right.
They're not here for that.
Right.
Speaking of that, I know I tuned into that live. Daisy goes live every day, and she has these like really deep, like good conversations that you might want to tap into. So definitely she'll give you her information, but it's always very just raw, real. You can get this from Daisy every day, what you're getting from her today. And before we wrap, though, I do want to talk about a couple scenarios. We talked about them a little bit pre-pod, but we want to talk about them on the podcast because, you know, life happens, and like Daisy was saying, like you always want to, it's not a soft girl error or anything like that. It's actually like just how you should be living in life. And so I want to talk about some scenarios and like what you would do in these scenarios.
Okay, let's go.
All right, so the first scenario is, let's say you're married, you and your husband are together, and he's cheating on you. You know, unbeknownst to you, right? And he gets into a car accident with his side girl in the car, right? And the side girl lives, and they both live, but they're both very impaired, right?
Okay.
Like maybe can't even walk anymore. What do you do?
Oh, man. That's a tough one, because for me, there's no respectful way to disrespect someone, right? I think that a man that's making a conscious decision to disrespect me does not deserve a second opportunity to disrespect me. So that's one aspect where it's like, you know, I don't think I would stay. Now, I may assist him in that moment. I may try to get him the best care. I may try to help him because I am his wife. But I don't know if I would be willing to remain his wife, because the infidelity is something that could be very difficult for me to deal with. But I don't want to speak in absolutes, because I could very well have a great man outside of this moment. You know, he could be doing all of the things. And sometimes I understand, for me, I understand that for some men, having more than one woman is important for them, right? I can understand that.
Would you be okay with that?
I like this right here.
So from a religious standpoint, I am okay with it because it's permitted in my religion, right?
Yeah.
It's permitted in my religion. I'm Muslim. So it's permitted for a man to have up to 4 wives. There are conditions. So again, but there's a difference between cheating and a man that is actually operating like a husband.
Exactly.
And doing things according to the Quran and the Sunnah. So for me, I am more concerned about how it's done. The cheating part for me is unforgivable. Now, if this was a woman that he married and this was another wife, then I'm going to stay with my man. You know, because he's honoring me still, you know. But I don't prefer that. I prefer monogamy. And if my husband cheated, I don't know if I would be capable of staying. However, I don't want to speak in absolutes. Like, I may consider staying.
Never say never.
Never say never. But at this juncture in my life, I haven't revisited those kind of situations. Like, I left.
That makes sense. Okay. It's a tough one for me too. It just would depend. Like, you know, everything is circumstantial, you know. I definitely would make sure, like, take care of him for what I could take care of him for, you know what I'm saying? But like, it would just depend on the severity of the cheating and, like, you know, I don't know. Like,
and too, the severity of his injury, because like, say he becomes completely to the point where you can't get your rights as a wife. Like, you can't get the physical support, you can't get the sexual support, you can't get those things from him. You should not have to be deprived. God doesn't he doesn't deprive us that way. So at some point, it may be like, if it depends on the injury too.
Because now what if he can't work now? Now you got to provide, and I got to take care of the man that was cheating on me. So yeah, absolutely. And that leads me into my next scenario. So the next scenario is, if your man is paying all the bills, taking care of you, right? And eventually he, like, you know, something happens where he can't do all of that anymore, right? I'm saying he's paying 100% of the bills, but something happens to where he can't pay 100% of the bills anymore. What would you do?
Well, I would definitely step up in that position, right? I would not be willing to take on it long term.
Okay.
I would definitely be a temporary support.
Okay.
And if that looks like 6 months to a year, fine.
Yeah.
If I've spent 15 years of my life and this man has taken care of me, and for 2 or 3 years I have to step in, listen, that's nothing compared to what this man has already shown me what he's capable of doing.
Yes.
Will I want to see him back on his feet, to be back in the position that I know that he would want to be in?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that's where inspiration comes from. Because I think a man that's inspired by his lady, he's not going to allow himself to stay down for long.
For sure.
He's not going to have enough ego
For sure.
to stop it. Like, his pride is going to be so big that his ego has to be small.
Yeah.
Like, I take pride in my family.
Yeah.
I take pride in being a provider. I can't have big enough ego that I won't be an Uber driver.
Right.
Or that I won't go out here and work a second job to get back to where we were.
Right.
You know?
Let me ask you this. Would it be hard for you to submit to him as you always did while you were, like, doing most of the providing?
No, I think, again, the femininity is not an on and off for me. It's always on.
Yeah, that's a real
Like, he's
gem.
still a man.
Yeah.
And he's still my man. And
Yeah.
I still want him to feel like a man. And I think, again, inspiration is the key word, because when a man, even in that space, feels inspired, he feels like she still respects me as a man. She's not emasculating me. She's not degrading me in any form of fashion. That's a man that's going to say, nah, my girl she's the one. I made the best decision.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go and get it 10 times bigger, 10 times more. I'm going to do more for her than I've done before.
Yeah.
And it's like, again, some women will leave their man. He's giving you 80% and you tripping off that 20.
Yeah.
Sis.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You going to go out here and you not going to get 80 again.
And you're not. And you're going to miss out on a good thing.
A very good thing.
Yeah.
Like, some compromises just have to be made. Like,
for sure.
Some compromises just have to be made. So.
Yeah. No, well, this was beautiful. I
loved it.
Yeah, I thank you so much for coming. Like,
I'm grateful that you had me.
Yeah, no, I'm very enlightened by, like, a lot of the things that you said. A lot of the things that you said, I definitely want to put into practice, like, myself. And I've been doing the work, and I still have a lot of work to do. Yeah. And that's why I'm like we were saying earlier, like, start working on yourself, becoming wife material. Being wife material is just a state of being that you should always be being. You know what I mean? Like, and yeah, I learned a lot in this. So, guys, I definitely want you to, like, follow Daisy for sure, because there's so much going on with her, and you can tell them about it, but I want to definitely tell y'all, first of all, the event was beautiful and amazing. I told Daisy this before, I've never been to, like, a women's empowerment situation ever, and it was luxurious. It felt like a little gift to yourself as a woman to go there and be surrounded by women that also had given themselves that same gift. The food was delicious. The gifts were luxurious and high end, and it was just a beautiful event. Very good energy, like, community for sure. I speak to so many women that I met that day still now. Like, we follow each other on social media, we talk, you know, we networked, you know. So it was a really beautiful event. She also she's a caterer and a private chef, and she feeds the homeless very often. Like, during Ramadan, she fed the homeless for the whole month of Ramadan. And all these things that she does are, like, just always of service and giving back. And she has a book, so support that too. Yeah, so go ahead and tell them all the things, but I definitely want to do it myself a little bit first.
So I'm so grateful for this opportunity. Thank you for having me. I love the conversation. And so I am a 2-time author. Both of my books are currently available on Amazon. You can find them at my Instagram, at Daisy Grant on Instagram, spelled exactly how it said, Daisy Grant. And the link is in my bio for my books, A Single Woman's Guide on How to Keep Your Husband, and The Meeting at the Table. I'm a private chef and caterer. I am also a philanthropist, and I have a nonprofit organization called Daisy Grant Cares. Please support Daisy Grant Cares by visiting the website, daisygrantcares.com. I do have a monthly outreach where I serve the homeless every third Sunday of each month providing hot meals, toiletries, and care packages of snacks and just food that they can eat throughout the next couple of days. Your sponsorship is greatly appreciated if you can support. And then I do my daily talks on Instagram at 8:38 to 8:30 a.m. Each day, just giving these kind of conversations. The Wife Material event is an annual event. And it is a luxurious experience. It's definitely a gift to self. And it's a moment to just come in, be transparent, be open, be free, be in a judgment-free zone, and in an environment where women are classy.
Yes, very classy.
Very, very classy
Top tier
environment.
women in there.
Yes, classy environment. And even if you are not from class, when you come in there, you are going to feel the need to step yourself up. And you're going to feel the energy, oh, I need to sit with my back straight because that's the energy that I'm in.
Yes.
And it makes you want to improve in a positive way. So that's all the things that I do. And I love this opportunity to be here. So I appreciate you.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for coming. This has been, like I said, like sometimes like 42 episodes, it gets hard to like find an inspiring conversations. You know, they can be inspiring to others, but stuff that really I feel really strongly and excited to talk about, you know? And today really did that for me. I'm like, this is what I want to talk to Daisy about. Like, yeah, like I definitely want to talk about wife material. And I love that you said, like, it's a state, it's just something you should just be. Like, you know, like it don't switch it off and on. It's just what you are, like who you are. And I just love that. So I thank you so much for coming.
Of course.
I want you to come back whenever you want to come
Anytime.
back. Yeah, come back. I would love to have you on a panel. That would be good.
That'll be nice.
Yeah, well, like usually with panels, it's like me and a girl, which would be you,
Okay.
and then two men. You
Okay,
know, we'll
I love
talk
that.
about something, you know,
God.
trendy.
Oh, God.
That'll be good. So, all right, guys, thank you so much. Of course, shout out to Ryan, who's been here each and every episode for 42 episodes. My guy, I appreciate you always. Thank you for watching, listening, liking, sharing, following, telling people about For the Record Podcast. If you haven't already, subscribe to Talk to Me Nice Podcast Network. And this is episode 42 of For the Record Podcast. We are out.